Guys, what's going on? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today we're going to talk about the new Stealth 600 Gen 2 Max from Turtle Beach. And we have the new Midnight Red, which is pretty sweet. So there's a lot to discuss, it's a lot to say, but let's dive in. Now right now you can only buy the Xbox version, but this does come with a new USB transmitter, so it does work on PlayStation and PC. We'll get into that and the why, but as of right now it's just the Xbox version. You can get it in the Midnight Red, the black, or the Arctic Camo instead of the older white that came with the 600 Gen 2 when it first launched. Now the Stealth 600 Gen 2 Max is $130, which is a $30 price increase over the older Stealth 600 Gen 2. So it's important to know what you get out of the box and how it compares. Now as of right now in April of 2022, you can only get the Xbox version. I put the air quotes up because this still works wirelessly on PlayStation without any problems. So I'm assuming it's a licensing thing. I don't want to speculate, but I just want to tell you now, if you want this for PlayStation 5 or 4, it works on both. I've tested it, no problem there. There's also a Stealth 600 Gen 2 USB version that's coming out soon. It's going to keep the same $100 price point that the launch 600 Gen 2 was. It's not out yet, or at least I don't have my hands on it yet. But that one is $100, so it maintains the price point of the older one. Doesn't have the battery life of this one, but if you don't care for that, that's going to be an option too, and that one is still cross-platform as well. As always, at the end of this review, if you think this is the right headset for you, I'll have a link in the description. It's just a generic Amazon affiliate link. Purchase however you want. However, purchasing it through there helps us fund more headset purchases so we can cover more stuff with you guys. It's not a special thing with Turtle Beach, so I just want to clear that up. Now, this headset was sent to me by Turtle Beach for review, so I want to thank them. As you know, with all of my videos, if you watch them in the past, it never affects how we review it, but I just have to say that, which is why we were able to get this prior to you deciding if you should buy it at launch or not. Now, there's two major changes with the Stealth 600 Gen 2 Max over the launch. One is this new transmitter. It is a sweet transmitter, and if I can somehow get this in a focus on one shot, look at that. USB and Xbox mode. This one transmitter works on PC, works on PlayStation, and it works on Xbox wirelessly with all of them. In USB mode, it also works on the Nintendo Switch if the Nintendo Switch is docked. So now you can finally have a headset that connects to all the platforms. When I say finally, I'm talking about the Stealth series from Turtle Beach. There are a couple other models out there. The Arctis One Wireless Xbox Edition was cross-platform. SteelSeries Arctis 7X was cross-platform. So there's a few options out there. However, this is a big change because now you can get one headset from Turtle Beach that works on everything. Now, the other big change is the battery life, and probably why a lot of people are interested in this headset. 48 plus hours of battery life. Now, I say the plus because one, that's what they say, but two, Turtle Beach's 600 and 700s in the past, the battery life rating they gave them was actually always worse. The rated number was lower than what you actually got in real world. The 700s, I got 25 plus hours in the past, and they weren't rated for anything close to that. So this is being advertised as 48 hours plus. Absolutely insane. I don't know of any gaming headset for Xbox or PlayStation that has anything close to that kind of battery life, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, for you math heads out there, that is 2 full 24 hours of Le Mans racing. That's over 280 full death matches in Call of Duty. That's the same as playing for 4 hours a night for 12 days straight. That's also close to enough juice to watch every single Marvel movie since the Iron Man release in 2008 to present on a single charge. In all seriousness, the battery life is ridiculous. Now, you can charge it with the included USB-C cable. It is short, but it is a very durable cable. This is the same cable they've used in the other Stealth headsets in the past, and it's worked fine. I don't have a single cable that's failed from these, and I use them often. Another benefit to the way they use the USB port is it does rapid charging, so 15 minutes of charging will give this headset 8 hours of battery life. So if you got to charge it up, a real quick charge will get you through a night, no problem. Now, if for any reason it's completely dead and you just want to play, you can charge the headset while using it wirelessly to your console at the same time. Obviously not with the included cable because it's not long enough, but you can use any USB-C, nothing proprietary there, so I like that they still kept that feature with the new model. Now, I got nervous because headsets that work cross-platform for Xbox and PlayStation typically makes you lose the game-to-chat mix. Now, the Arctis 7X doesn't, so I like that there. But what's interesting about this is the dials have a multifunction purpose on the 600 Gen 2 Max. So your top dial is your master volume no matter what, whether it's on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. On that quick note, if you're playing on PlayStation, make sure the headset volume on the PlayStation audio settings is set to max so you can then use this volume to adjust. A lot of people don't realize that the PlayStation by default doesn't max out volume, and you'll turn this up and it'll seem quiet. Check your PlayStation volume. Now, when it's in Xbox mode, when you flick the switch on the wireless dongle to Xbox, the bottom dial supports game to chat audio mix. Now, in this case, it's a little different than what's traditional. So the top dial is your game volume, and the bottom dial is your voice volume. So if you just want to hear your friends speak, turn the top dial down, turn the bottom one up. You can talk to your friends, the game will be quiet. And then you can kind of dial it in to get a good feel for what you want. They are very responsive. There's almost zero delay. And I like that when you get to max volume, it doesn't beep and lower the volume and then blast it, kind of catching you off guard. It's just very quick and it's a very unobtrusive way of adjusting audio. Now, when you're in USB mode, the bottom dial now works as microphone side tone volume adjustment. That is how much you can hear yourself in your own ear cups. Some people can't stand that, so you just turn it down. Other people want to hear themselves because they don't want to scream. And this is one of the best quality side tones I've heard. Kind of similar to what I had in the past with these guys. You hear everything in the background, so if you crank it and you want to hear what's going on, it's almost like you have an open back as far as noise rejection goes. You'll hear everything around you because the microphone is really sensitive. Now, when you're playing on Xbox, because you lose the mic side tone adjustment on the headset, you're now using it for game chat volume, if you will. You cannot adjust the side tone on Xbox. However, it is enabled, and it's enabled in a faint manner. I think they kind of picked a happy middle/low ground, so it wouldn't really offend anyone. At least it shouldn't. Now, as of April of 2022, with the current firmware, keep in mind the headset officially comes out next month. I have no way to adjust the side tone through the Turtle Beach Audio Hub app. In the past, you could do that. I haven't seen that feature yet. Maybe it's because they have the dedicated volume wheel when you're in PC mode. But on Xbox, as of right now, you can't change that. I didn't find it too bad. I could still hear myself enough, but it doesn't overpower the game or get annoying in any way. Conversely, when you're on the PlayStation, you don't have a chat volume. A lot of people ask for that. I think people are starting to accept that PlayStation people lose that feature now. PlayStation, I know it's a shocker, only allows game to chat mix on their own Sony Pulse headset. They disable that functionality on every third-party headset, so unfortunately you lose that feature. It's not a fault of Turtle Beach. Basically, PlayStation used to use optical and USB to kind of make it work in the past. Now that the new PlayStations don't have optical, you just can't do it anymore, and they locked out the USB API to companies like Turtle Beach. So unfortunately, you lose one with either console. It's a common trade-off, and that's typically how each dedicated headset works for each platform. So I just want to point that out so you know exactly what you're getting depending on what you're playing it for. Now, I mentioned the Turtle Beach Audio Hub. That's also what you use to update the firmware. I always recommend, before you really start playing with it, use the included USB cable, plug it in your PC, plug in the transmitter to another port on the PC, download the Turtle Beach Audio Hub app, and check for firmware updates. I'll have a link in the description to help you find it. And if there is one, it'll make sure you're up to date and fixes any potential bugs. And then check it every few months or so in case they come out with some new features. You can't disable the tones, so when you change EQ settings, I'll get into that. But anything that beeps and stuff, you can't enable or disable. However they have it shipped is how it comes right now. But performance-wise, the firmware wasn't an issue. The headset works incredibly well. Now, if anyone has the older 600 Gen 2 and they're curious about this, the wireless pairing when you first turn this on is much faster than the initial 600 Gen 2s that came out. Sometimes those would take several seconds to 5 to 10 seconds before the pairing process would complete and you would connect to your PlayStation or computer. Obviously, it's different on Xbox mode. This new transmitter, especially with the latest firmware update, it's damn near instant. Usually under a second, if not max under 2 seconds, which is normal, if not about as good as it gets for a wireless headset when you first turn it on. And it did that every single time. It was super consistent and reliable. Now, as far as how this is similar to the original 600 Gen 2, it looks nearly identical. Now, obviously, you have the new red. Instead of a plain white, now it's Arctic camo, but you still get the plastic construction. There is no real metal to be seen anywhere, but this is one of the few headsets where I can say I actually know or have somewhat of an expectation on long-term reliability. I have the older 600 Gen 2s behind me. I have the Xbox and PlayStation version. I actually have a couple different colors. My son used it heavily for well over a year, especially with COVID and the at-home schooling. He used the PlayStation version all the time. And the general consensus on public reviews, forums, etc., this is a pretty reliable headset build quality-wise. So even though this has some new features and it's a new headset for 2022, it's one of the few cases where I can say it's actually built incredibly well, and I have a very strong inclination to expect this is going to last you a long time physically and not break apart or fail on you. Now, just like the 600 Gen 2 that came out before, you get the same ear cup adjustment. They have some tilt, they have pivot, they actually lay on flat on your neck. And even though this has a stronger clamp force, which I'll talk about when we get into comfort, because this has an offset yoke, when you rotate it, do you see how that opens up? This is the most comfortable headset of this size around your neck. It's extremely easy to wear, and because this is so light, some people have to do this a lot and you're walking around, or you need to talk to somebody. I just love how easy that was to do. Now, the clamp force is, I'd say, medium heavy. It's not so strong where it's like the worst I've ever experienced, but this is definitely on the stronger side from clamp force. So if you're concerned with that, it doesn't really loosen up over time. I haven't ever tried stretching and pulling it with the way this headband is set up in the plastic. I don't know if I would want to pull it like some of the metal ones out there. But my original 600 Gen 2 has held to almost the exact same clamp force as this one, and that's been used for hundreds of hours. So clamp force is medium to strong. You still get the leatherette ear pad or headband up top. Let's get that in the focus. So it's plush, it's pleather. It's actually pretty comfortable. They still use memory foam even on their less expensive 600 model. Now, Turtle Beach has always had really high quality ear cup materials across the price range, for what's fair to expect at each price range. And this is no different. This ear pad material, this sport fabric, if you will, has really good sound isolation as far as trapping in the sound, giving you the bass that you're looking for, but it's extremely comfortable for long periods of time. The only other headset that has had similar performance for pad comfort for heat is the Arctis. I think it starts at the 5. It might be 7 and 9 only, but when you get into the athletic weave, the sports fabric, if you will, from Arctis, the SteelSeries models, those are the only other ones that come close to this for long-term comfort for heat. These do an incredible job at giving you good sound quality, comfort, and again, not making your ears get too hot in there so you can wear them for a long period of time. Now, the 600 Gen 2 Max made an upgrade to the ear pad material, and it doesn't look like much to the naked eye, but if you've owned the original 600, you'll notice there's a slight difference in comfort. First, I'm going to start with the original 600, and I'll do the scrape test. I'm going to rub my finger on the pad. Pretty loud, right? You could actually feel that when you put the headset on. Now, if I switch over to the Max and do the same test, it's noticeably quieter. So you can hear there's a difference already just in how smooth it is. I still got similar noise isolation performance. These pads just have a better feel on your head, in addition to making less noise when you move them around. So it's a double win in my opinion there. And then just to show you real quick the difference in what it looks like, the original 600 Gen 2 had a more noticeable, more dramatic weave, and that's what makes the noise that you hear. And you go to the new 600 Gen 2 Max and you can see it's smoother. So it's a little quality of life change, but I'm glad they did it because it made it even more comfortable. Now, just like the 600 Gen 2, these are amazing with glasses. They have something called ProSpec. So when you look at the ear cup, this is actually a soft point on the pad. This is stiffer than right here. They basically create a divot in the pad, or they soften the pad material underneath. So you can't tell if you don't wear glasses. It doesn't make a difference on the fitment right here or feel. But if you wear glasses, it doesn't put a lot of compression on them, leading to long-term comfort. The 700s have a pull tab to actually force a crease into it if you really have glasses issues or that's a major concern of yours. But at this price range, this does an excellent job for glasses. It's probably one of the few headsets that has a dedicated feature for those who wear glasses, or if you're like me and you wear Gunnars, that really makes a big difference for long-term comfort. There are a lot of headsets out there I have to take off often because of the glasses pressure. Now, if I had one detractor of one thing that carried over from the 600 Gen 2, the original, is the microphone sensitivity. I'll do a real mic test here in a moment, but this microphone still picks up a ton of background noise. Just like the original, there's no noise gate option as well. So if you're not playing on PC where you can add that yourself, whether it be through NVIDIA Broadcast or OBS or something like that, playing on console, people will hear a lot of things in the background. So if you're wondering if they got rid of that issue or changed it at all from the launch, it's still there, again, as of April of 2022. All right, now I'm talking to you on the Stealth 600 Gen 2 Max microphone. We are in PC mode. I tested this extensively, and whether you're in PC mode or Xbox mode, the microphone performance doesn't change. I'll get into why I tested that in a moment, but this is how it sounds. Now, like I said, this picks up more background noise than most headsets in this price range. If you have a noisy environment, it's going to send that into the other side. Now, if you don't care, great. If you have other means to combat it, or if you have a quiet environment, it's a non-issue. But that's just the way this microphone works. It has a omnidirectional mic, which means it picks up everything around it. Now, to show you what I'm talking about with background noise, I'm going to make some noise here so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to rub my hands over here. I'm going to adjust my chair. And so that's some noise that it's picking up in the background. That's just the way it is. I'm going to flip to mute real quick. There are 2 flip up positions. I can actually mute going halfway up. And now I'm back on. You also have, if you talk very loudly, you can have it flip away from your mouth, or you can kick it in to get a little bit more pickup. That proximity effect actually helps the audio quality as well. All right, now I'm talking to you on the PlayStation version of the original 600 Gen 2. The microphone quality is nearly identical, so just to give you a baseline, there's not really much of a change here, even though they went to a new transmitter. They're both still excellent, and they both exhibit the same background noise pickup. All right, now I'm talking on the Stealth 600 Gen 2 Xbox edition. This is the launch one from 2 years ago. The audio quality is noticeably more clear. That's because it's using the proprietary Xbox wireless protocol, which uses direct pairing to console. I'm using an Xbox wireless transmitter on PC, but this is showing you how good the microphone is. The only reason why it doesn't sound as clear in the other models is because of the way the wireless protocol works. All right, now it's time to talk about sound quality, and my statements on sound quality for any model I review, or I guess more of an opinion based off my experience and at least what I think sounds good. Now you can take that for what you will. I will always describe objectively how this sounds compared to another headset, and it's up to you if that's the kind of sound profile you're looking for. Now the 600 Gen 2 comes with 4 EQ presets. You can't change them, but they're actually really good presets out of the box. All you have to do is tap the mode button and it'll follow by a beep. It'll go 1 beep, 2 beeps, all the way to 4. The first beep is their signature sound, then you get bass boost, bass and treble boost, and then vocal. I'm going to base my audio review mostly on the signature sound because it's hard to just review every single one and treat it separately. I just want to give you a baseline of what it sounds like. Lastly, if you press the power button once and briefly while the headset's on, it toggles superhuman hearing mode. It'll get rid of all of your bass and highs, and it sounds, I don't want to say like a walkie-talkie, but it's laser focused on very specific frequencies. The goal of that is to maximize your audio awareness for things like footsteps. So if you're trying to look at it purely from a competitive level, you can try enabling that or press it again to turn it off. So if your sound seems weird, check your presets and check superhuman hearing mode. Now the bass of these is surprisingly powerful for this price range. They have insane extension and they hit very deep. So if you like the deeper bass, like 20 to 40 hertz and more of a rumble, these have no problem getting there. Even their $100 model hit that as well. They use 50 millimeter drivers with neodymium magnets. They have this like textured cone to it. It basically increases the rigidity of the cone, which is what's giving you that bass control, because if it's more rigid, it won't distort. So that technology carried over to the Gen 2 Max. The bass is still phenomenal, and the way they have it tuned is it's not so boomy into the mid-range that it makes it sound muddy, and it doesn't take away from any clarity or detail in your mid-range either. So I actually really like the bass performance here, and that's just with signature sound. If you need a little bit more, switch over to bass boost, and it'll make that even more strong. Now the mid-range on the 600s are actually pretty amazing. They measured well, which is important, and when I say measure, I'm talking headphone benchmarking. That's actually a fairly flat mid-range. It's only because the bass is slightly emphasized and the highs are slightly emphasized that the mids can seem a little bit, I don't want to say taking a back seat, because they're actually pretty well displayed or produced across the board. I found that if I had to nitpick, some male vocals and some guitars, like bassier guitars, they seem to be, they take like one step back from the rest of the soundstage. They still sound excellent, and I'm just nitpicking because honestly the sound quality of this headset is phenomenal. It's just, this is inherent to a slight V-shaped sound profile. Something has to be lower than the others to give it its unique sound. But overall, the mids are great. I found that you could still listen to rock music. It may not sound as good in the default signature sound mode, but still very usable. I still liked it a lot, and on the gaming side, it's just phenomenal. Now the highs are exceptional with the 600 Gen 2s Max, and same with the other 600s. This is where I think Turtle Beach has their magic sauce, and part of where you're getting the signature sound. I don't think it's just to give you extra bass or anything like that. They really have kind of a unique tune on the upper frequencies that makes them excel very, very well in gaming, especially competitive gaming, because you can still hear detail without cheating you and hurting your ears. Some headsets go for maximum detail retrieval by cranking treble. And yes, you may be able to hear things a little bit extra. It's just a little bit more crispy, if you will, but that can hurt with certain audio tracks. Call of Duty, Warzone in particular, is not known to have a good audio mix. It can be very ear-piercing at times, and if you have a headset that's not tuned well, it's going to punish you. You end up turning the volume down, and you don't hear as much detail as you would have from a sound profile like this, which has exceptional detail retrieval. I'm telling you, from a FPS perspective, these are phenomenal. So I think out of the box, the 600 Gen 2 Max needs less tuning than almost every headset in this price range. I found that I can just plug this in on signature sound and go enjoy my games, and that's a huge win for me. Some headsets need a lot of work, and this one's not one of them. So I just want to commend Turtle Beach on the sound tuning. It's great, and I think everyone that owns these, if they know what they're getting into, they'll love the sound as well. If I had to describe it in one sentence, it's basically everything you listen to on this just got a small shot of caffeine. It's a little bit more bass, it's a little bit more detail and more crispy up top, but it's not overbearing or over the top. It makes the moment feel a little bit more alive and engaging, and to me, that's what makes games more fun. It's the involvement in the game, the engrossment in the game, and audio is a massive part of that. That's why all these companies are pushing Atmos, and Sony's got their 3D audio, because they know how important that experience is. And this particular tuning profile just takes that to where it should be for gaming, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable. Now, on the note of 3D audio, this does support all of those. 3D audio is pretty much processed on the machine or console that you're running it on. So whether it's Dolby Atmos, DTS, Headphones X profile, your Sony's 3D audio, all of those work no problem. Even Windows Sonic, it'll work on this just fine, so there's no issues there. Now, when you factor in the sound quality, including the gaming performance, the wireless stability, which is not only just low latency, but this is extremely solid as far as connection goes, no dropouts, things like that. The sound quality, again, it's just so good. They really got a lot of the boxes right. It's cross-platform, great battery life, it's durable, it just performs in every single metric. You just have to know what you're getting. And I think if the strong clamp force and the mic sensitivity picking up some background noise isn't an issue, this is a super, super solid option at 130. That battery life at 48 hours is unheard of, and that makes it so you can keep this for a very long time without worrying about the battery wearing out and not getting you through multiple days or nights of gaming. So if you think this is the right headset for you, great. I'll have a link in the description below. Again, it's a generic Amazon affiliate link. It helps support the channel, but don't feel pressure. Buy it however you like or wherever you want. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I have a ton of headset reviews coming. We're really getting back into gear with everything. So I can't thank you all enough for the support as always. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Seriously, 48 hours. A mayfly would die before this one would. You could drive from San Diego to Boston on one charge. That's ridiculous.